Coming up on this edition of the Newsfeed, mandatory hazing prevention seminars give students crucial advice.
Plus, citizens urged to kill an invasive species of fly.
And tips for staying safe in downtown Blacksburg with an update on the hookah bar shooting. Those stories and more are just ahead.
Hello and thanks for joining us on this edition of the Newsfeed. I'm Jamie Walters.
And I'm Ava Dorn. Virginia Tech fraternity and sorority life prides itself on their motto, Hokies Don't Haze. In an attempt to reduce hazing on campus, Virginia Tech has instituted a new mandatory training. Every year, as new members join the Greek community, they are required to undergo a mandatory hazing prevention training. The Adams Law training was named after VCU freshman Adam Oakes, who died in 2021 due to liquor-related hazing. When Adams Law was approved in 2022 by the Virginia Senate, hazing training became mandatory for universities statewide, and hazing became a felony. Virginia Tech Panhellenic is in charge of sorority training, and executive board member Carly Keenan is trying to stress the importance of hazing prevention within the community.
It's very common, but it's always swept under the rug. So I think the reason it's mandatory is mostly just to bring awareness and let people know that it's not okay and they don't have to accept it. They can go find help, they can find resources.
The mandatory Adams Law hazing prevention trainings will take place over the next few weeks as new members of Greek organizations will learn what constitutes hazing, how to report it, and resources for students experiencing or witnessing hazing. Virginia Tech fraternity and sorority life implemented this mandatory training in fall 2022 and will continue to run these trainings every year in order to keep Greek life hazing free.
Local businesses took a hit during the COVID-19 pandemic, with many of them still recovering. However, due to their proximity to Virginia Tech, local businesses in the area are now ready to welcome thousands of potential visitors each year. Here in Blacksburg, the town is working with local organizations to spur growth in the small business sector. Newsfeed reporter Alex Conkey has more in this next story.
The town of Blacksburg is seeking input on the development of a new retail cooperative and incubator program located at 414 North Main. The current plan proposed by the mayor's office is to place Downtown Blacksburg Inc. in charge of the space. The building has been empty since 2019.
We want that building to basically be renovated and put into productive use in our community. We want to basically figure out some type of agreement with Downtown Blacksburg Inc. where we'll provide you the space and you kind of maintain and manage the space.
While the official design is still undecided, many local architects have submitted their own concepts for the space. According to the executive director of Downtown Blacksburg Inc., the town plans to make that decision soon.
By the end of this year, we'll have an RFP developed and put that out to all architectural design firms and construction and different things like that to get a plan in place. That will be decided on next spring. It's very quick timeline. And then by June 2026, it will be completed.
The goal of a space like this is to spur growth in the local retail sector while also connecting current business owners.
This is kind of a great spot for it. Connects the far downtown all the way to Eats Natural Grocery Store, Virginia Tech, and then also the existing kind of retail area.
For the Newsfeed, this is Alex Conkey.
Just ahead on the Newsfeed, spotted lanternflies invade Montgomery County.
And advice for staying safe in downtown Blacksburg. That story and more after this break.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. let you go. Never gonna let you.
Welcome back to the newsfeed. I'm Ava Dorn. It's spotted lanternfly season again, which means students should be on the lookout for the destructive insect. The infestation in the northeastern part of the country is creeping downwards, putting the New River Valley at risk. More on this story with newsfeed reporter Gray Wins.
July to December are the peak months for the spotted lanternfly, and in August of this year, Carroll and Wythe counties, which are right next to the New River Valley, went into lanternfly quarantine. This means no trucks transporting goods in or out. Without protections in place, the NRV could be next.
From that first detection in 2018, we have it moved up to these about 24, 25 counties now, and so we're picking up counties at the rate of about 5 or 6 per year. So. And it's mostly where you see it showing up. It shows up along transportation corridors. So it's hitching a ride with trucks and trains, that sort of thing.
Spotted lanternflies feed on fruits, trees like maple trees, and hops plants. The excretions of lanternflies promote the growth of sooty mold, which kills plants. These invasive bugs prefer grapes and trees of heaven, but that won't stop them from attacking any other plants they can find.
So for just lanternflies, doing your research and taking care of them when you see them, but also, learning about your native plants and your native environment and how to help enrich that, and to just, because Earth will heal, Earth will take over, but humans, if they can do that little bit to help, it's huge.
Spotted lanternflies haven't yet been spotted on the Virginia Tech campus, but if you see one, make sure to report it right away and kill it if possible.
Plastic is in most products that we use on a daily basis, but when it breaks down, it can spread to some unlikely places. Engineers at Virginia Tech have developed a tool that may be used to track microplastics in our waterways. We're going now to newsfeed reporter Jackson Hardy with the story.
Microplastics are almost everywhere you can think of. They have been found in remote deserts and even on the top of Mount Everest. But right now, Virginia Tech is trying to figure out how they travel and what damage they may cause in the future. Microplastics are so small that they are practically invisible to the human eye. While there are many universities dedicated to studying them, we still don't know very much about the effects of microplastics in everyday places like our drinking water. Engineers at the Center for Marine Autonomy and Robotics have designed a team of underwater robots that can gather data on microplastics in our waterways. Dr. Dan Stillwell, the developer and lead engineer, says these robots have a mind of their own.
It has to be fully autonomous because communicating with an underwater vehicle is difficult. We can communicate with our vehicles while they're underwater, but the communication bandwidth is very slow and it's fairly unreliable. We have to communicate acoustically, so we use sound.
These robots are called AUVs, or autonomous underwater vehicles. They can make decisions on their own, detect obstacles underwater, and gather data by using algorithms. All of this is done with almost no oversight or intervention by the above-ground team. These AUVs are currently being tested in Claytor Lake, but they are expected to advance to the point of studying the ocean and even predicting major weather patterns. I'm Jackson Hardy, reporting for the newsfeed. Back to you all in the studio.
Thanks, Jackson. Virginia Tech has a consistent reputation for having lively downtown atmosphere. Main Street serves as a social hub every weekend, but this can also cause some issues of safety. Both businesses and partygoers have to be on guard. Newsfeed reporter Javaria Zulfkar has more in this next story.
Downtown Blacksburg is one of the most iconic spots in town and is often frequented by Hokies and Townies alike. However, engaging in nightlife can come with risks, and both customers and businesses have to be prepared.
I don't exactly think that downtown Blacksburg is the safest place to be at least when you're alone. There just tends to be a lot of catcalling and there was a shooting that happened last year. A friend of mine who I knew who actually got assaulted. Things like that happen on a fairly regular basis, and it makes me kind of uncomfortable to do things like that alone. So I feel comfortable going in groups.
Businesses often deal with heavy crowds weekly and even more on game days and during events. Catering to a largely inebriated clientele certainly has its pros, but comes with its own set of problems as well.
Sometimes people get in fights in the line because they're already intoxicated. That stuff stirs up quickly. It happens more than we might like, but it's just kind of the environment we're in, especially when you're open till 2 a.m.
To ensure the safety of their customers, businesses have to take precautions to minimize disruptions. Many have established rules and have no tolerance for aggressive behaviors. This has been Javeria Zulfkar reporting for the Newsfeed.
That will wrap up this edition of the Newsfeed. If you have a story idea for the Newsfeed, let us know. Send us an email at thenewsfeednrv@gmail.com, or you can connect with the Newsfeed on our socials.
Thank you for watching. I'm Jamie Walters.
And I'm Ava Dorn.